here before the snow starts. Supervisor Yankee's got to get out of here so we can make church council meeting next. That's at 7:30, Scott.
He's got a car that needs painting tonight, yeah.
Oh, I want a little girl.
All right, roll call. Who are we missing? Anybody?
Joe.
Joe, yep, Joe missing. I haven't heard from him. Approval of the agenda. Have a motion? Supervisor Kroll, second by Supervisor Haskey. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approval of the December 4th, 2023 minutes. Supervisor Poppy, second by Supervisor Augustine. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now by popular request, I am going to move number 7 up. We're going to go to Promo and Recreation Department.
Thank you.
Mr. Myers has to get out and make snow before the snow comes.
It was only that easy. It's a little warm on you. You all have a handout there. I emailed it up Friday. So what we're looking to do, and this will be on the Parks and Rec agenda this week as well, just this meeting happened to fall before our meeting. But this year and probably parts of last year, we're looking at probably having to make a lot of snow overnight, often with little to no warning. You know, this last week we had about a day's warning. We've been playing the weather when we could because it's been so darn warm. Overnight's about the only time we can actually make snow. So much like the highway department staff, when they work overnights, they're at a premium rate of $1.50 extra an hour. I would like to do that for our staff, being as it's similar work. We are doing some snow moving and plowing as well. For this, hoping to keep more people interested in wanting to do this work. That's the tough part. This part-time work, we depend on a lot of college help, but this year we're not even open yet. Most of my college staff will be gone by the time we get going. So trying to keep people interested. I do estimate the cost to be, I wrote $500 on here per season. It's going to be probably less than that, you know, for this. So it's not going to be a huge expenditure for this.
Has this been discussed by Parks and Rec?
Not at a meeting.
Maybe, well, if it isn't, be careful, we got this taped. We don't have problems with a walking quorum, do we?
I'm just talking to Dave.
Okay, that's good, that's good.
It will be, it's on our next agenda.
Not that I've been getting concerned lately about that kind of thing. Do we, I have no problems with it. I just, you know, that was my concern is, has it gone to the committee and should it go to that committee first? I suppose that we could have a motion, we could approve it pending approval by Parks and Rec committee.
So you say it should be quite substantially less. You have a guesstimate closer?
You know, crunching numbers from last year, the hours we did, I think we're on $150 is what
That's quite a bit different than five.
yeah, I'm just, if we gotta do, you know, with the weather this year, if we gotta do
I hear you.
12 nights. of
Yeah,
snow,
I hear you.
it might be,
The amount, I mean, I do agree that it's the same as highway, other than they're clearing it, you're moving it on. But,
yeah.
so, I
Well,
mean,
we do some clearing too.
yeah. But I do think it's certainly a reasonable request.
And my thought was contingent upon Promo and Rec committee approving it, you know, we could go for
Sure.
I mean,
You want to make a motion, Supervisor Yankee? Or not?
Sure. A motion, we go ahead with $1.50 raise overnight pay. Pending.
Approval for
Committee approval.
Second. Second by Supervisor Romden. Further discussion of the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you, everybody, appreciate it.
Have everybody wanting to work the night shift now.
I'm taking volunteers, I mean, but start calling people on their way this.
Yeah, $1.50 an hour to get me out there at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Moving on to the administrator's report, personnel.
Okay, you should have a copy of that in front of you. As you can see in the first two categories, we've filled 7 positions. since our last, report. The bottom two, we did have a resignation in Human Services for Economic Support Specialist. And also, the final, road patrol deputy that retired, on January 3rd. So, you know, we're making some headways. We got 7 spots that we filled. You can see that there's, 6 on the recruitment side that we're still working on. The administrator, today was the deadline for receiving applications. And at right around noon time, they had 8 applications in. So by the end of the week, we should have the report coming from BAA on the list of the candidates that we will have to select from.
Do you anticipate, Ed, you said 8, you anticipate that these are 8 qualified applicants, or is
I
this?
think it's a mix of what we saw the first time around.
Okay, so have a astrologer in there or two, or
Um,
To refresh my memory, does PAA, they weed them out before, or do we, is that our process? I can't remember what it was.
the process. So on Monday night, 15th, the interview committee will do that. So
Yeah, is the executive part of the interview committee, or is that a separate committee?
it's a separate
It's a
committee
separate-
so far. I don't know what Ben wants to do there, but you've got Dylan Whiter, Lazansky, Dan and Gary and Tom.
I would say that if there are any executive committee members that wish to attend that at 6 o'clock on the 15th, they are more than welcome to do so. But interview committee would be the ones that would be required, I guess, so to speak.
And a rep from PAA will be here on the 15th. Actually, one will be by Zoom, one will be here live unless you feel comfortable doing Zoom all the way around. It's your call.
What did we decide on that? Did we,
That wasn't an option that, that they gave us for lowering our costs. It's just,
what's your
if
opinion
you're
on that?
comfortable with, John will be by Zoom because he is gonna be on the road somewhere. Dave Brettel, the other principal in this, he will be the person that's scheduled to join us
On the 15th.
on the 15th.
From here or Zoom?
We're paying to have him here,
We're paying to have them here. Well, if we're paying to have them here, we might as well have them here.
unless they offer a discount. But that's right now that you're paying to have them show up here.
Well, for that one, it might be helpful to have them in person, huh?
So they're saying 2 to 3 hours for that meeting. So
I'll pack a lunch.
okay, under the recruitment area, deputy register deeds, we are moving along with that. Matter of fact, we do have interviews scheduled for this Thursday. We had a fair amount of, I think, 6, 7 applicants there. Economic support specialist. We actually have filled that spot. However, under filling vacancies, the 3rd person in that division has resigned. So we will need authorization to fill that final spot as well. Highway commissioner, the deadline for receiving apps was today. We have a total of 7 applications. So,
7 new, Ed,
these are all new applications, but
look promising.
it's kind of like before. Mix.
That means there's some that look promising.
Well, Gary and I had a little discussion before the meeting about it, and it seems we have a choice between road builders and office people. So we need a mix. So that's what we're looking for. I'm optimistic that we'll be all right.
Are they in county?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, there are no, when you say in county, I mean county residents or county workers.
County resident.
Yes, there's actually a fair number of county, residents out there, yes. But rehab jailers, we're continuing to work on that list. They did just offer, I think, someone to start on the 28th of this month, so I don't know, swap filled there. And as Dave has told you, we're still advertising, trying to fill out his roster for, the winter park.
And, sorry to go back, but the highway commissioner, what's your time frame on that?
We need to talk tonight. So I've
I
got
was
some
just thinking-
dates.
I was just thinking with the snow coming.
Yes, well, I have some dates set here that we can choose from, so I'm looking at January 18th and 19th. January 22nd through the 24th, those 3 days are available. January 29th, January 30th after 10 a.m. and January 31st after 11 a.m.
What time on the 19th?
The 19th is any time is open.
Afternoon or early morning?
So it will depend on us contacting them and when they're available. I assume there's one that we'll do by Zoom.
Anything but 10:30 to 11:30 that day,
Let's do the 19th.
19th.
We can try and, I'm thinking we're probably looking at most 3 people. And one of them is from the state of Washington, so that might be a Zoom.
Fabulous. I'll pencil it in.
So that pretty much covers that. Again, like I said, under approving vacancies, the Economic Support Division, we still have a vacancy there. The good news is we've just completed hiring somebody, so we have applicants in hand, and I think we'll be able to move and hire from that group if the committee approves. So. I would leave it time. Because we have to check. See.
Took a little bit. So, you didn't see me. Well, from- hit the car, I said, "Leave your stuff."
Well, then the whole thing. If the 19th doesn't work with, is there an alternate date that you'd like to do?
What were your other options, Ed?
22nd to 24th is our road school time.
And that's out,
So we
okay.
needed to go to the
What about the 19th? Sorry, the 18th, is that?
18th, as long as I could be out of here by 6:45, anywhere from, say, 3:15 to 6:45.
Okay. I'll shoot for the 19th with the 18th as a backup.
By the weather's looking this week, it better be.
So then the economic support position vacancy, is that something the committee wishes to take up?
Yeah, absolutely. You need a motion to fill the.
I'll make the motion that we revisit that. So we fill it.
Second by Supervisor Kroll, motion by Supervisor Poppy, second by Supervisor Kroll. Discussion of the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. This is not an agenda item, but unless there's objection, I'd like to put on the county board agenda a memorial resolution for Jim Abramson. He was a board member just passed away this past week, so
Absolutely.
if that's okay, I'll see to it that we have a resolution set for that. That's all I have under the administrator's report.
Very good. Thank you, Ed. And you told me at some point your drop down dead date here is last day of February, or was it,
February 23rd.
February 23rd, so not the last day? I was just thinking I should probably be thinking about that. Huh?
This year?
Well, I was 25 or 26. All right. Okay, so, consider options for employment background search.
Okay, so part of our arrangement with PAA and the search is, they do not conduct a background search on the candidate that we would select and recommend. So in the past, the sheriff's department has conducted those for us. There is a reluctance on their part to do that beyond the criminal part. They will do the criminal background check. They're not comfortable with some of the other things that go with it. So I contacted 4 different companies that handle background checks to get a pricing. And you, on your second page of the handout there, there's a quote. Out of the 4, this is the only one that's responded. And these are the types of things then that they would do. So the types of things you can get in this, you can get a credit report, which I don't recommend. That's not something we're really looking for. Educational verification, employment verifications, reference verifications, criminal history, driving record. I don't think that that's something that we need. And then the criminal search, both state and feds, and the sheriff's department would conduct that for us. So I'm going to continue to reach out to these other 3 companies that have not responded, but I wanted to give you a look at that because after the 26th, we're in a position where we're going to have to do this. So I thought we need to discuss that tonight, and if the committee is comfortable with that, then I would suggest that I will choose the least costly avenue to get that accomplished.
Well, it's not that big an expense and we consider, all things considered, that's a pretty minor part of it. I mean, I guess I don't know, why would you not want to get a credit check though? I mean, I always kind of, those are
You tell me if you think that.
well, I mean, my personal opinion is that a credit check is pretty important. I mean, that indicates quite a bit about an individual.
Okay.
If they have poor credit.
And that certainly is something we can do. Okay. Anybody else have any?
I come from a background where if you've had a bankruptcy, I mean, that is possibly disqualifying. So,
I guess, I mean, if we're gonna request,
finances.
my question is, if we're gonna request that, what are we gonna use that moving forward in the process of
Well, if there's
determining if we're gonna hire that person? I mean,
Well, I mean, if we found that there were 5 or 6 bankruptcies, but I think that's information that we could legally consider, right? And I would personally say we definitely should. And
If there's no red flags, this obviously is an effort that just gives you peace of mind. But if it does bring up red flags in any of these areas, then it should be something you weigh as you move forward.
I'm not opposed to it.
A credit check can definitely raise red flags. Unless, I mean, I don't know, rest of the committee disagree with me.
I really didn't know what normally was done in the check, so what was covered.
We do have, in our normal employment practices, we do have the sheriff's department conduct criminal investigations in terms, not investigations, criminal checks.
So is that it then?
That's all we do. We don't go into the other things.
Oh, okay.
Now, if we were looking at a position like administrator, where you're getting above, you know, if we're having somebody that's going to be handling money,
Yeah.
things like that, well, then you'd want to get into those kind of things. But for the most of the things that we do in hiring, you know, a highway worker or The sheriff's department, they have a very rigorous, routine that they go through in checking out the background of their potential employees. But, you know, our clerical staff, highway workers, those are basically criminal backgrounds, driving, see if they're driving issues. These are people that, gonna put a social worker on the road and give them a county car, and they got a bad driving record, really something we want on with. So.
Right.
So my takeaway from here is that we would go ahead and use at least one of the 4 firms that we've seen is most recent.
Yes. You don't need a motion, I don't think, for that.
I don't think so. Yeah, I just. So.
All right. That's it on the agenda. Next meeting is, February 5th at 6 PM.
Very possibly meet at 5:30.
I was just going to ask that actually, because I have the Cub Scouts want to hear what the chairman of the county board does. So I gotta figure that out by next month. Well, I'm not gonna take that long, but they want me there at 7, so would 5:30 be okay next month? All right, you'll be out of there, be done with painting.
Can't predict. Something goes wrong.
I think I'll be here that day, but I can't remember. Pretty sure.
You're, best you can.
We'll consider the pay to go quicker.
Okay. I have a motion to it. Oh, yes.
Before we get there, I'd like to go back to the schedule with PAA just to make
Yeah.
sure that
Yep.
we're on course with that.
Absolutely.
So January 15th, that would be next Monday at 6 PM. We need the interview committee here to get the report from, and I should have the report Friday from PAA, and if you want me to, I can forward that to you. It's probably just names, probably not all the details of it.
Okay, fine.
Under the heading interview committee meeting on the 15th, the final bullet point in the center column says proposed employment agreement is discussed. Now, that is probably something that needs to be handled in this group rather than the interview group.
Right.
So I think you need to think about how you want to cover that.
And what you're talking about is the contract or no contract.
Yes.
And so executive committee, I guess that's something we need to have a conversation about. We could probably do that now. And what we're talking about there is Scott Felt and previous, I believe, previous administrators were employees at will, right?
Correct.
There were no contracts, but contracts have become more common, and we've left it open that if there was a really qualified candidate and a contract was a big deal, we would consider it. What does the executive committee think about that?
So you're saying that if there was a qualified candidate and he would say that the only, I'll come here, but
I want a
I want a
contract.
contract, then no contract on coming. Yeah, that would be.
Problem is, that came out in the discussion with John from PAA, is that could be, it could be. We could have a difficult time finding somebody that's willing to not have a contract.
Do we know if this is a common practice among administrators in the
Yeah,
state?
well, we had
Getting to be more and more.
at one
More
point,
and
we
more.
had different cities that sent, or different counties that sent us a whole bunch of information. There were numerous ones that,
Yeah,
I mean, there were a lot of them that did not, but there were, I'd say maybe 50-50.
becoming more and more.
It's more prevalent in the larger counties that are under the administrative category of governance. But it's starting to creep back into like us, smaller counties, and the individuals are looking for some kind of security.
Yeah. basically, anybody that is in our situation that is having to hire an administrator is going to be facing the question.
But there are some things you can put in. to
Oh, yeah.
Protect the county side.
Yeah,
also.
absolutely. You know, we write the contract, they don't.
As far as getting out of your, time frame, stuff like that. Back date, stuff like that.
Personally agree with Tom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in favor. But you,
Okay. Well, good candidates probably are going to be in a position to say, hey, if I don't get a contract, I'm not interested.
And they're gonna probably show up with the.
I guess I could be persuaded to go with the contract, provided it entirely protects the county.
Yeah, because I mean, you can write it, I mean, some of them I looked at that we had gotten were
Right.
really pretty good on the county side,
Mhm.
but some were not.
You can write them in such a way that they represent the interest of both parties.
Probably the biggest thing you'll find in there that may be not to your liking is the severance. You do choose to part ways with the individual, there will be a severance or buyout.
Well, the
That will be
severance-
part of that agreement.
Well, the severance package for a position of that nature for county administrator is going to be almost standard. Any place. You're going to have when you're talking about those kinds of positions, you're going to have a very difficult time being able to part ways without some form of severance. It's probably best to have it agreed upon.
In that will environment, you wouldn't be faced. But
No,
in this contract, there will be some severance.
there should be. I mean, my personal feeling, unless there's just utter incompetence in these kinds of positions, there should be some form of severance.
I don't think you need to make a decision tonight. I think you need to plan for the 25th, 26th, probably after the 26th, because that'll be the interviews. So we're probably looking at that time frame that you would have to be prepared to make a decision.
Well, we can get an executive committee meeting together very quickly after the 25th, 26th, if that's what we're facing. I mean, we could, tentatively, we could look at, the 29th, Monday, the 29th to meet and figure that out. Are there any conflicts then? You're gonna be somewhere in, you're gonna be somewhere in Central America or what? They're all coming here. Why do you want to go here? And there's a lot of room.
hey, town board on the 29th,
29th, what time?
7.
7, so if we were to go 5:30 or 6, which one is Supervisor Yancey been available to be done painting by 5:30? Okay. Why don't we
You will have discussions
pencil it in?
on the 15th with the interview committee, so there will be, some of you will have some feedback there as to, and then, like I say, the final decision would have to be, you have to be prepared for that after the interviews are completed and a person is selected.
Well, we're going to put down as a tentative, January 29th at 5:30. So pencil it in. If it's not needed, it's not needed. If it's needed, it's down. So that'll take care of anything that would be, we'll have to set. Yes. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
When we had, when Jeff Wisniewski was our corporate counsel, almost every executive committee meeting, he was present at our meetings. And I guess, I don't know how Dave Deppel was hired, but I'm wondering why we don't have corporate counsel at our executive.
He's homesick.
Well, that's understandable, but I mean, he's not at a lot.
Well, there have been some times when I've told him not to come because
Okay.
he had family things going on, kids,
Okay,
sporting events. He's asked, and he would be here, but in his defense, I've given him
okay.
the time off. If I look at the agenda and see that there's stuff that I didn't think.
Because
was-
if we're going to be talking about the possibility of a contract, we definitely will need
Yeah,
corporation
some legal
counsel
stuff.
present.
I told him I would act as the attorney. He seemed okay with that.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I was just curious because normally, sometimes there's questions that pop up and we have no answer.
So, like I said, in his defense, he knows that this is a place that he needs to be, and I've given him.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so is there anything else, Ed?
Okay, so then we're gonna go to the 25th, 26th. Would any of you be interested in handling some of the tours to the county facilities on those days? We'll probably need 3 to 4. I'm trying to line up some of the department heads to do it as well, but I'd like to see 2 in each vehicle with their candidate,
Could help on the 26th.
okay? The tours are gonna be the 25th.
Oh.
So in the afternoon.
What time in the afternoon?
Well, I'm thinking they're gonna be here for right around 1 o'clock. So our, as far as facility tours, we're looking at courthouse, admin, human services, and the main highway shop. We're not gonna move to Luxembourg to look at those facilities, so that would be our, okay. So what I'm gonna try to do is pair you with one of our department heads so that there's 2 of you. As John has said, that's the time you try to facilitate a little more discussion. To have a little better feedback from the individuals and things like that, so. I'm thinking we're probably looking more in the range of 3 people than 4. If there is 4, then we'll have to adjust to that.
I'll get back to you.
Okay.
What time are you thinking? Sometime in the afternoon.
I'm thinking we're gonna start off right at 1 o'clock with the tours. Get that out of the way and get them back here. The meet and greet is at 5, and that is also something that I'm hoping that you can be here for. 5 to 6:30. I'm also thinking that maybe we're gonna pull together some hors d'oeuvres and something to have as people mill around for an hour and a half. It is right at the lunch hour, so unless you guys think that's unnecessary.
I think it's a good idea.
Well, they can figure it's good.
Well, it's scheduled to go from 5 to 6:30.
You really can't go home with beans or something.
So if you need to dust down, you can do that. But if you can, you'll have an hour and a half of time to spend meeting the individuals. And so that's good. If something changes in your schedules that you're allowed, it allows you to help us out on the 25th at 1 o'clock, say, I'm thinking you're looking an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. Get that visit taken in. So if that, please let us know and we'll schedule again. Okay, Tom's in.
If you need some,
I guess.
if you need something.
Okay. Thank you.
2 supervisors enough, Ed?
We got 3, so that's what we're hoping for. And if I need to, I may have to put some arms on the department head side, so.
If you don't have enough supervisors, 1 to 2:30 for me, I could do it.
Okay.
I'd rather not. I'm already here that
I'm
time.
thinking we'll be okay. So that pretty much covers what I wanted to go through on that scheduling thing, just so that we're prepared. Again, when we have the meeting on the 15th, both Dave and John will be present, one physical, one virtual, so we'll have a feeling there, but again, it won't be the full committee. So, you know, I want to make sure you all have the same.
On the 26th, that's interviews.
On the 26th, the interview committee will need to be here at 8 AM.
And how long, that's gonna be.
They're talking an hour per, and I think we'll have a minimum of 3.
Okay.
So you're talking at least
Still,
3 hours.
okay.
Fabulous.
So,
Oh, very good, thank you. Okay. We got next meeting, date and time, motion to adjourn, Supervisor Toppy, second by Supervisor Crowe, all in favor of the motion signify by saying